Oh, so how was your weekend? I've got your favorite song playing, by the way, but we can't listen to it. Yeah. Wish I could say the same for mine, but just all the last 3 days were really difficult for me. Just shit I had to deal with not being in a good place, you know? So it shows you watching on Twitch, but it doesn't show if there's anybody on YouTube, but I wouldn't be surprised if nobody showed up on there for a good while. I don't know what to do with my old Defiant once I build the new one. Who's dinging? Maybe I should have left the grenades off until after painting. I can do this. Yeah. Arnie's actually passed out in a bed in front of the display cases, so he shouldn't be an issue. And Ellie, where is Ellie? Usually I say her name, she comes running. She's not down there, so she's around here somewhere. They both taught Frankie to be jumping up on the table now as well, and he's not a tiny little kitten anymore. And her shirt won't remain this clean looking either. I am going to dirty it down to fit how it looked in the film. I just want to get all the basic details in first. Were you able to do anything more on your F-111? I linked you the right paints. All you got to do is order them. You can get them off Amazon. There are testers equivalents. I don't know if you may have them, but testers paints were usually classified by the federal standard numbers that were called out for. So you'd need dark tan and all that stuff. It's one thing people really miss about testers and poly-S is their paints actually did follow federal standard colors at the time. And once they disappeared, we had to find suitable substitutes and mixes, and that's when the whole debate about what's the right color really kicked into high gear in the modeling world. It used to be you could go into a hobby shop and buy the exact color you needed, and you didn't have to play 50 Shades of Mig. I miss being able to do that. Vallejo does it though. They're pretty close. I'd say damn perfect, really. Other people would argue that. I honestly don't give a shit. If it's close enough, it's good enough. God, tickling my nose. Which ones do you have, if you want to list them? The brown is literally dark tan. So if you have Tester's dark tan, that is bingo what you need. But as I've said before, part of streaming on YouTube and Twitch is that I can't have my music playing. If you see me bopping to a song though and want to know what one it is, just I'll tell you. Um, At least you guys can play your own music now, and you don't have to hear all of mine. And yeah, I've got some good stuff, but a lot of my stuff's annoying as well. I thought you still had some testers paints. Or you just don't have those particular ones. Gotcha. I really wish somebody at Rust-Oleum would pull their head out and bring that brand back with those formulas and those paints. Because Rust-Oleum owns testers now, I'm afraid. Yeah, Tamiya's colors, if you haven't noticed already, they will basically make colors for their kits, for their specific models. And then if you want to adapt it to another color, you might have to mix it, or it'll be close enough but not good enough. Like, I'm sorry, Tamiya Dark Gray is not Gunship Gray. It's too light. Real Gunship Gray is darker and bluer than that. That is the color they tell you to use, however, when you are painting, say, an F16 or a Wild Weasel F4. If you want the Tamiya color callouts for the Southeast Asia camo, look up their 30-second scale F4 instructions for that particular paint scheme. It'll have them. How close the Tamiya colors are, I don't know, but it'll have them. Because I'm guessing you can get the Tamiya stuff at Hobbytown. You should be able to get Vallejo at Hobbytown too. Or do they have the same limited palette that Hobby Lobby has? Let it sit for too long, it's gotten dusty. Mission Models also carries them. But they are hit and miss in terms of overall paint quality because they require a hardener. Okay. Do you need me to send you the Vallejo colors again? So you can get the right ones, write them down? Okay. You'll just go back through the message history? Okay. But if the instructions ever list that FS number, just look that up on your phone and it'll get you the right one. Right now, of all the companies, I think Vallejo's still the closest. Oh, please don't do that. So who else is watching on Twitch? See, it's telling me there's a second person there. Don't be shy. We're trying the restream thing. No, it really confused me if you started talking to yourself in the conversations. But maybe if you do talk more on YouTube, it'll boost the engagement on that, and the algorithm might push it to more people. Got to cheat the system somehow, legally, just to get it all to work. I don't know if that's how their stream stuff works. Ow, ow, ow. Sitting on my foot. Allie is on the couch. So while this dries before I turn it over, do you want to see what kind of experiments I have wrought on the Defiant? So this kit came with no clear parts, right? I've had to thin everything based on what I did on the runabout. And I think what I'm doing will work. I'm going to drill holes and use the fiber optic rivets again for position lights and brighter lights on the outside. But for all the areas that have to be glowy, we're just going to use LEDs behind thinned plastic. Now these were extremely thick all the way through, right? Where did I put my battery and my test? There it is. Test LEDs. Okay, so I'm just going to hold these in place by hand. These are my test LEDs. Brightness, right? Look at that. I got the plastic that thin, but it's also going to glow that well. There we go. So there's that one. And that one. And that's just the plastic thinned down and clear blue paint put over it. I think I got that really nicely. Then there's the piece that goes in the front. I may just put a single strip of 3 LEDs behind that one, because 6 seems a bit much. And then there's the lavender lights up top. Again, just thinned out the plastic. Got to add more purple ink just to get the color in there a bit more. Then these 2 patches that glow red. So I think when I get around to actually constructing things on it, this model will look very nice glowing up on the shelf. Especially since it seemed like by Deep Space Nine, they were really cutting back on the intensity of the light and more on the saturation of the color. Yeah, that's not Newt's. That's part of the gun strap, I think. Okay. And I know I said in the past I wasn't going to print more, but I am working on another figure. A cyberpunk figure with 2 Chris vectors, mantis arms, and roller skates. You stink. That was either Arnie or Allie. I can't tell which. It's Allie. She's cleaning. So, I take it you have to go in tomorrow. Oh well. Hey, at least it gives you an opportunity to get by the hobby shop, right? Just keep note of the federal standard numbers, and between Tamiya and Vallejo and any other paint brands they may have at the hobby shop, you should be able to get all 3 of those colors sorted out. Yeah. So don't stay up too late. You notice I've been trying my best not to message you late in the evening on my time. Even if I see a green dot by your profile, I'm like, no, can't, because he'll stay awake. What is Last Train Home? Is that one with the spider, the like the spider-like Thomas the Tank Engine? Well, I really wish that guy making the War of the Worlds game would make it open to more, though. He just released an hour-long video of gameplay. I could never really get into RTS games. Not what they became, anyway. After the first StarCraft, they really began to clog themselves down with too many options and too many controls per unit. At least that's what it felt like. Or they tried to tie it into games that didn't need it, like Halo. I might have to take a minute and go take some ibuprofen because the visual migraine I had this morning went away. But now I'm actually feeling a real headache coming on, god damn it. And I just got started. Oh, gotcha. So yeah, you're it's kind of like Dr. Zhivago. You're trying to make your way home during the Russian Revolution. It didn't really involve the Czech Republic until more after World War II, but I know exactly what you mean. And you said you went 200% at her? It's still a bit small. That brings her up more to 1/6 scale, which is fine. But I want to do her in the same scale as Volume and Roppy and Alice, which would require some major cutting of parts. Yeah, but they are still all on one sheet, and it would still require the user to be able to slice them apart. So they're still not in a very user-friendly format. Like the one they printed is the biggest one they can do. Yeah, I went and checked out the files and their breakdown. All the parts of the tank are in one long strip. So to print it larger, you'd have to scale it up and then put the parts you want to print on the print bed. And you can't reorient them easily because it's all one part. So if you try to rotate it, it's like rotating an entire thing of parts, you know? I'm tempted to. I really am. I know I've said it before, but at the same time, I'm not that kind of an asshole. I don't really want to. Part of the fun of it, at least between you and me, was the actual, mining of the files for you and seeing what we could do, and we still haven't done the big runner yet. And with the printer, with the FDM printer I've got now, if you were to take all the wires off, I could almost do 1:1 scale and replace the cabling with actual like wire and hose. You know, imagine printing a fully lightable but static runner, right? That you could pose and like put out in your yard as a Christmas ornament kind of thing. No worries, no rush. We'd need to go into the game and really get close up to one though and see what size it really is to even gauge what we're doing. Because like we found out, it turns out the big tank I printed is actually 35th scale, not the smaller ones. So is the runner more the size of a tiger? Or is it the size of a Great Dane? So imagine, making a post saying, so I heard this weird mechanical barking noise outside. I went and checked outside my window, and I saw this walking down the street, and actually having a full-size runner out in the road that's not photoshopped. Ah, my face! There we go. So it looks like the YouTube side of things is working fine. If you just wanted to stick to one thing, that's cool. If we start getting people in there, we'll have to figure things out. But right now, you're the only one in there. Or, I don't know. I don't know how all this works anymore. It's gone weird. But I'm really half tempted to just dump all of the files that we've had onto CG Trader for like $5. But the problem is once they're out, they're out, you know. Well, so nothing from YouTube is showing up on Twitch? It should be. From what I've seen from Restream, it should pop up on Twitch as well. It'll just say from YouTube or something weird like that. And then I got to figure out how to get, like, if YouTube takes off, right? I got to figure out how to get, ah, my eyes a break for one. No, how to get super chats and all that going. It only shows for me. Got you. I thought it showed for both. Or is that a different service that does that? Don't want to waste all this black paint. I'm just going to slather it on here real quick. We'll add more once we get back to the weapons. Okay, I thought Solway had it set up where it did that. Because I was in his chat when he was using Restream, and I could see both sides of the conversation from YouTube, but he may have been using a different service. Or it could be a setting. I don't know. Alright, so let's get her chin repaired and see if we can pull out the eyes a bit more. Some other things. Or let's finish fixing the pulse rifle. Just some print lines and errors that I've got to patch up. So I kind of did a movie night last night, too. I got up early enough I could have streamed, but I really just wanted a day. You know, my weekend and week had gone really badly. So I watched The African Queen, some other things. There's some pretty decent films on Prime right now. No, it was bad. I don't really want to get more into depth because it'll just, you know. I just watched a bunch of movies I hadn't seen in a while. One good one, an early Christopher Walken film. If you want to check it out, Dogs of War. Then African Queen was another. There was another, but I forget what it was. I was kind of like half awake watching it. I was actually about to fall asleep until Solway started messaging me. I'm like, oh, what? And dinner tonight is going to be beef tips and gravy with scalloped potatoes. think that is good enough. I'm gonna get more black, black out both weapons, let that dry. While that dries, we'll work on the olive drab straps, work on getting Newt's coveralls looking more dirtied up, and fixing Ripley's face where the paint chipped on the chin. Work in one color, move to the rest. Cool. Somebody actually watched the Alien 3 paint VOD, and I guess I made it look simple for them. So, awesome. I am getting the results I want. So, if you're out there watching, welcome and thank you. So, people are investigating the channel. I don't have any brown Bess for the pulse rifle, so I'm going to go with the next color that I think fits it, and that's going to be khaki drab. It's kind of a brownish green color. In the film, even the firing props were spray painted black and then chipped up. I'm going to be a bit more... What's the word I'm looking for? I want to say realistic on my approach, but I don't know. I haven't painted Ripley's hand on this gun yet because I wanted to be able to be sloppy when I paint the pulse rifle and not have to worry about fixing anything on the hand. So there is method to my madness. Sometimes. I could have airbrushed this, but fuck it. I feel in a brushy mode right now. Not everything has to be airbrushed and perfect. Oh, neat. This person actually got this detail right. So, the buttstock, you push a button back here and you can slide it out. Part of the plate comes forward here. So that's a neat little detail that they got right. This hole here is so the flamethrower can actually interface with it when I glue it together. They did make a concession to fit there in that parts of the flamethrower conform to parts of the pulse rifle and vice versa. You don't notice it as much when it's assembled, but it is there. Got music from the Nikkei soundtrack playing. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with the weapons, making them all look scuffed up and everything. Because they weren't pretty. There was a print failure with the finger. As you can see, it's not going around the trigger there. In the end, it doesn't really matter. So I'm not going to bother reprinting the pulse rifle. I could, but I'm not going to bother. It's a waste of resin. If I was selling it, like if this is a commission for somebody, I'd have reprinted it. But this is mine. If somebody wants to buy it off me, I'll be fully transparent and let them know about it. But I'm not gonna redo it just for my own cause. I'm trying to stay in frame as much as I can too. I still haven't rearranged my desk painting orientation yet. I'm still evaluating this position because I kind of like being able to have things to my sides like that. Where if I move to the left more, I would, yeah, I wouldn't have that option. So I think I just have to get used to it. I think I just have to shut up and color. Okay. And other people can look at this and say, "Oh my God, you paint so sloppy." Yep. But don't let this phase of it fool you. You can look at my shorts and see what else I've painted. I don't mean my actual shorts. They're not painted with anything. I meant my YouTube shorts. And the person who did the model for this seems to have gone with a like the like they just use tape or fabric to put the weapons together instead of the actual weapon straps, which were then cinched tight. But again, it's more because it's just an impressive figure that it's done that I want to do it. And I'll have to research the colors on the actual flamethrower a bit more. We might be reapproaching this one, but why would I want to reword it? It's fun being ambiguous. I do it for the wait what lulz. I think the actual bottle is a different color. Let me Google. If it is, it'll give me a convenient handle. Actually, the whole damn thing's olive green. I'm going about this the wrong way. It's quite different. Like, this has an M16 carry handle up here. Yeah, I think we're just going to say fark it. Like, that's green, most of this is green, that's black, and some of the operating mechanism in here is black. So, I'll just finish filling in the areas that are definitely black, and then we'll come back with the green and throw it all over the gun. Same time we do the pulse rifle. Good thing I looked before I made a complete idiot of myself. Oh, wait, I already have. If you're new to the stream, welcome. Say hi, don't be shy. I try to paint things in a way that's very simple, borderline sloppy. Doesn't matter if it's perfect or not. A lot of the models my shorts are made of are actually in the display cases behind me, so I can't grab them at will and show off. But some are still available, as far as not being locked away. Because when all's said and done, after the weathering and wear and dull coats and all that, you're really not going to be able to tell. Set that aside to dry. Actually getting more viewers on YouTube than Twitch right now. Hello out there. Say hi. What's it gonna do? Space. I need flesh tones. Ow. Airy Studios, thank you for the cheer. That's very welcome from you. As always, much appreciated. Helps go for supplies. Paints and glue and things like that. Turn off our palette real quick. I like using these Tupperware tops and old cream cheese lids. Different song. This version of Humanity by some tips for your super glue. It keeps clogging up. What kind of super glue? Hey, 12th Doctor, how you doing? Welcome. It's my first attempt at restream instead of re-uploading the VODs, aka the old way. I'm taking advantage of Twitch's new rules, where you can do a stream on YouTube or Twitch. Thank you for the sub on YouTube as well. Much appreciated. We are Doctor Who fans here, to a point. I may have to get fresh water real quick. I don't want to muddy up my flesh mix. Be right back. I just got to clean up my water dish. My favorite Doctor? Um. Oh, what's his name? Played Gallic in Alien 3. He's a very, very short stint as the Doctor, but I can't remember the actor's name. God, what was his name? McGann. Paul McGann. Okay, I'll be right back. Everybody says the one with the scarf. No, we're not. No. Mine was Paul McGann. Be right back. Gotta get water. Yeah, everybody always says Tom Baker, but I always like Paul McGann's Doctor. And then there's always Peter Cushing's stint with 2 films under his belt as the Doctor, but those aren't considered real Doctor Who because they tried to make him an actual Doctor. He wasn't a Time Lord that could change form and regenerate. He was just a guy with a TARDIS. Which, that was a weird time for Doctor Who. Outside of what's been going on ever since Capaldi. Capaldi's not bad, but he was the last. He was the last of the actual Doctors to me. What they're doing with the character now is wrong. They've removed the character's entire reason for being. And the fact they had to fan bait with David Tennant, that rubs salt into the wound. So what I'm doing here is I'm just adding extreme sharp highlights to the white of her t-shirt so they'll stand out better when I begin to dirty it down. Oh wow, there's a lot of glare. You can kind of see it there, how it... And this will dry better. Why is this playing again? Now here's the real question. And this is to the 12th Doctor fanboy. Did you know Paul McGann was a doctor for a while? A lot of people didn't know that. I think he did. I think he and Eccleston are the two shortest. The two shortest times an actor has played the Doctor. Mainly because McGann, I think, took the reins right when the series ended for the first time back in the 80s. It was still weird seeing Grand Moff Tarkin as the Doctor, though. That was just strange. Yeah, that's popping a bit better. Yeah, the entire front of her shirt is going to be stained. Most of her shirt's going to be toned way down, so I'm just trying to get the white highlights to really pop before I get into that phase. Uh, Other people would probably start out with the tan and try and just make it look right. I like to actually go with the base color of the shirt and then use different washes to actually bring it down and tone it down. So who's your favorite Dr. Eagle? Or Ares? Oh, yours is Tom Baker? Okay. That's everybody's favorite Doctor. What's your other favorite Doctor? How's that? There's got to be one that's kind of unique to you that you saw that you found more interesting. Hmm. Tennant was good. He had the energy. Capaldi. I think the biggest problem with Capaldi is he had to follow Matt Smith, who outside of Tennant was one of the biggest doctors, you know? Like you could almost put Tennant and Baker on the same pedestal with Smith right below them. So Capaldi had a lot to kind of work toward. And after being with characters like Matt Smith's Doctor, yeah, he was tired, given up, and kind of, kind of, hmm, maybe not so much tired and given up, but he didn't really have any fucks left to give, did he? Right? So I'm getting ready to paint her irises. The thing is, you don't want to go in a pure white. That's just too bright. So I tend to mix just a little bit of not irises, her just her eyes in general, just the base tone of her eyes. You want to go in with a little bit of off-white with a fleshy tone to it to kind of give the impression of the blood that would be in the eyeball. There's other steps I'm going to take too. The way I do eyes is very different to others, I think. Um, no, Capaldi's Doctor, you almost got the sense that he was nearing the end. Because in the lore set before the Great Reset, for lack of a better term, he would have been the last. His regeneration would have been the last regeneration. And don't give me any of that retcon stuff about what they're doing now ever since they've extended it. There was only supposed to be 12 or 13 to begin with. That had always been stated that it was the end, the done, the end all be all of regenerations. There were no more. And they could have done that. They could have made Capaldi the last, and then used River Song's character because they've shown she is a Time Lord. She is capable of regeneration. They could have also brought back the Doctor's daughter. They could have continued it without having to radically alter the existing Doctor. Hmm, I don't recall. When it was the Day of the Doctors that they really kind of messed it up with John Hurt's Doctor Zero, the War Doctor, whatever you want to call him. Could you imagine if John Hurt had played the Doctor earlier? Oh, no worries. We're just discussing how they could have used alternate means to continue the series than the decisions that have been made and become so divisive in recent months. Well, honestly, it's been since 2005. So you're talking almost 20 years again. Maybe it's time to let the Doctor rest. Just like they need to let Star Wars rest and Star Trek. They need to put away the toys for a little while and make new toys. Do what now? Are you talking about the latest one with what's her name? Or are you talking about River Song? Oh, they've gone past that. Um, the latest 50th anniversary, they brought back Tennant's Doctor and had previously established companions basically tear his character apart. And that struck a lot of people the wrong way. No, it's more they use the typical current political rhetoric to shame the Doctor. They emasculated him, for lack of a better word. Which is funny. I remember the other movie I watched last night. Now that we're talking about this and John Hurt being the Doctor and all that. 1984. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Great film. Richard Burton's last film, too. Um, Kind of interesting film given today's climate as well. And another funny side note for that is John Hurt was originally in 1984 as somebody subjugated by Big Brother, the all-seeing eye of government and all that. Then he goes on in V for Vendetta to play the face of Big Brother, which I thought was actually quite interesting. I would have liked to have if he was younger, like if we're talking 90s John Hurt, right? Late 90s, where he was still spry enough. I would have actually liked to have seen that Doctor. I mean, imagine that 90s edge that wasn't wasted on a Doctor Who cartoon, or was that a Highlander cartoon? I thought they had a Doctor Who cartoon in the 90s. Tell me if I'm wrong. Um, but that edge and that gravel that he has to him. Imagine seeing that as the Doctor going up against the Daleks. He would have made a good between Tom Baker and Eccleston Doctor. You know, the Doctor that was done with everything, the Doctor that destroyed Gallifrey and locked everything in the time loop. You could see that. But he was supposed to be the Doctor that started it all, wasn't he? Outside of the original series Doctor from the 60s. Got a fingerprint on her cheek. Great. Just like when they did Ghost in the Shell, when they did the live action, I think he passed away shortly before or right around the same time, but based on the voice acting for the animated version, John Hurt would have made a great Aramaki, which is kind of the role he played in Hellboy. That same kind of old grizzled leader. Um, my face, my face! No, that's the channel points on Twitch that you can use to do that. Um, but yeah, I always thought John Hurt could have played a good character like that from the '90s and early 2000s. I'm trying to remember where I was on her face because I had just started on it months ago when I put it aside. I was moving my hobby space and all that. Somebody just meow at me? Not yet, but Allie's in her little hut now. We occasionally have cat visits on stream too. Needs to be thinner for more glaziness. The Day of the Daleks was still weird to me, seeing we were talking about this while you were away. Um, Peter Cushing as the not doctor. But I have to agree with Aries though that Jodie Whittaker. I honestly can't blame the actress. I can't blame the actress in that really. She did what she could with what she was given. However, the BBC used her as the conduit for their ideas, which didn't sit well with the long established fans. But she couldn't say no either, you know. As litigious as the BBC can be to its actors that break contracts. So you got to wonder what else is going on there. My wife even tried to give it a chance and gave up after the first season with her. All right, now it's starting to come out of it. I don't think it's really. Yeah, you can't make it out on the camera, unfortunately, because it's just too washed out. But you can kind of see how the cheekbones are starting to pop more and everything. And what you want to do with glazes is you can just apply more thin layers to build it up slowly if you'd like. I should probably be using a much thinner brush for this too. Right now I'm just playing around because we're going to be dirtying up her face, and we're really going to be dirtying up Newt's face. We'll use artist oils for that, though. Something I can play with a bit more and add and remove a bit more easily. It doesn't dry as quick. I really wish I could have music playing, but I think YouTube has figured out how to basically listen for copyrighted material on people's live streams, and they'll shut them down. Twitch doesn't do that yet. And if I remember right, Carrie Henn had blue eyes. I'd have to watch the movie. I don't really need 8-year-old Carrie Henn in my Google search history. Yes, you guys can laugh at that. That was the point. And there's one thing they did with Capaldi's Doctor that I wish they had really, like, grabbed onto and run with a bit more. I know they resolved it through the course of the series, but they didn't resolve it enough. They didn't really run with it and do much with it. At least not as far as I remember. That's when my interest started waning. Um, the Dalek that he cured. It would have been neat to have seen more with that particular Dalek and what it went on, you know. Okay, Thursday reminder if the snow's not too bad. Get my ass to Hobby Lobby and get some brushes. Dun, dun, dun. Another brush bites the dust. these ones are going to take a while. They're more photorealistic looking sculpts. I've done others before. I mean, I can show you them if you want, that are more anime-like in this scale. But they're a lot easier to do and manage when it comes to the faces and the shadows because they're not exactly like perfectly human, you know? It's not as easy for your eye to discern what's wrong. Not so much uncanny valley. Has anyone heard more on Alien Romulus? I saw somebody trying to sensationalize a preview not too long ago, but it turned out the preview was fake and utilized alternate take footage from Prometheus and other Alien films. I'm kind of interested because the creator has come out and said that essentially Prometheus and Covenant are just not in the equation. They are so far outside of what they wanted to do with the Alien series that I'm hopeful that they might be bringing it back around. Like they're not even going to try and tap into the story that Ridley Scott was trying to tell there because it's so far removed from the other four Alien films that there's no way to reconcile them. Like they're even pushing forward the idea that David reverse engineered the facehuggers that he used in his own efforts, which lines up with what wasn't put in the film in Covenant. If you go back and watch the Blu-ray extras, you can see that David had been talking with Weyland-Yutani ever since he arrived at that planet, and you could kind of get that he was doing that. He was reverse engineering facehuggers and stuff. But it's also when you watch Covenant, you hear somebody ask, "Well, why wasn't this planet on the charts or on the scans?" Because Weyland-Yutani didn't want David being found. So at least it seems like um, the Alien Romulus crew understands that, and they're not going to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Starting to look all right. I wish I could work on the brightness on this camera a bit, but it doesn't like that. What else can I do? Okay, knock down that intensity. Then I can't see very well the paint. But it plays better with the camera, doesn't it? Kinda. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, especially the YouTube audience. Let me know how it's looking because this is my first real stream doing this. So please, feedback is welcome. Let's lay in the hair next. That would help frame the face and let me see where I'm going to. Because right now I'm just getting a lot of brightness, and it doesn't allow me to see the face for what it is. We're going to go with a Tamiya dark yellow, which is a mustardy yellow color for the base color for Newt's hair, which then we can weather down to an unwashed dirty blonde. And then for Ripley, we're going to start out with a German camo black brown, which is a good deep chestnut color that we can then bring up using different chocolates and leathers. We'll let her face dry a bit more. We'll work on Ripley's hair. He's out of here. So, I've got the brushes I need here. But I wanted to use a different one that's not as dark as the Vallejo. Yeah, this one reads more brown. Sitting position. Or we can work on the weapons a bit more, paint on the pulse rifle and the flamethrower. I would love to get my hands on some 1986 Brown Bess for the pulse rifle, but nobody makes it anymore. Even Humbrol, they changed the formula after '86. So current Brown Bess isn't the same as the one they actually painted the pulse rifle and the marine armor with back in the day. Give my eyes a break for a minute. I'm just going through my music real quick when my eyes rest. That'll work. Gary Newman. I think I'm just going to get the big brush out and we'll get sloppy again. We're going to get sloppy for a second. Wait a minute. I like this one. It's brighter. I can go in with a slightly deeper brown for the shadows and then bring up all the curls with dark chocolate or leather colors. So that's much better. No, I can't use the masking putty. There's too many nooks and crannies. I mean, I could take an hour just to mask off the face. I'd rather just try and cut it by hand. Sorry if I get quiet. I just get into the music I'm listening to and the painting, so feel free to ask any questions. within reason. We'll probably have to do is work on the back half of her head, let that dry, so then I can turn the head around and work on the front. I could have used the masking putty. I just really didn't feel like it. I'm in kind of a zero fucks mode today too. It's nasty, it's rainy. I just really, I don't know. Just trying to fight that dark place, that one that kind of sits in the back of your head. I almost wanted to take a nap today, but it's actually been a while since I've taken one, which is honestly very good. So for the longest time, that would screw up my sleep schedule because I get like 3 to 4 hours of sleep in the evening or the afternoon, which makes it take longer to get back to sleep later that night. I'm sure you guys know the just the bad roller coaster you can get on with that one. I might be able to do the front facing. But we'll definitely let it dry while I do Newt's hair. Then we'll come back and get all the edge pieces with a smaller brush. And is everything looking okay on the YouTube side? No lag or issues or anything like that? I know there is a slight delay because of the restream process, but overall, is it running okay for you? Yeah, I think the doctor might have me on for background noise, which is fine. Lurkers are always welcome. Paint a little of the edge here, just in case Newt's head doesn't fully fit all the time. It kind of puts the implication of a shadow there. Oh, this song reminds me, I really need to get a sound system installed in the Camaro sometime this year. I'm gonna set that aside. We'll come back and do tighter around the edge there. Dark yellow. Oh, dark yellow or desert yellow? Dark yellow tends to be a bit greener. Ooh, drop. There we go. Yeah, we're going to go with the desert yellow because it's mustardy but not green mustardy. It's shaking. And the song I'm listening to is Tungsten from the Nikkei soundtrack, if you want to check that out. This would be a good one, 100 miles an hour. Yeah. Aries is probably YouTubing it right now to hear it. Is it the end of the world as we know it? Or does he have his Spite and his Orange Crush? Oh, and there's the thong. There's this thong. The song that makes you go, what the fuck, every time. The one from the Macross soundtrack. Which one's this? Oh, it's the Pulse from the Inside soundtrack. If you haven't played the game Inside, do it. It's an older game, but it's fucking awesome. It's like a puzzle scrolling or puzzle solving side scroller. Uh, about 3/4 of the way through the game, though, you run into this level where there's this pulse going off, and if you have the right sound system or the right headphones, it is an eargasm to play. The sound design in the game is just brilliant. Yeah, well, these dry. Yeah, we'll paint the green on the guns, and then when that's drying and the hairs are still drying because there's a lot of nooks and crannies that'll take a bit to dry, we'll paint Ripley's Reebok Bug Stomper shoes because I haven't done that yet. They got to be based in white, and then they get a little bit of red thrown on them and some gray. But Jen and I played Inside together. That didn't sound right. The game. And we loved it. I think she actually got it again for her Switch. It's a lot like Stray in that it's not a difficult to play game, you just got to really figure out the puzzles. And some of them really do take a little bit of thinking, and others are simpler than you think. There you go. I know light ghost gray and dark ghost gray would not be bad paints to start with for the colors on that, with differing tones of gunship gray and others. Like, if you went out and bought this set of paints again, you would pretty much have all the tones you need to do it. It's a lot of grays and blue grays on that ship. I think the company that made that model stopped making it. I'd love to give one a shot, considering the files that are out there for the one that I can get are corrupted. So I can't print it. There's floating objects that would destroy your printer if you're not careful to remove them. And there's holes in the model too, like and unconsolidated vertices and stuff. There's, yeah, the digital files for the Roger Young are not that great. And for those who don't know, that's the ship from Starship Troopers, the first movie. Dead mouse when summer dies. You should be able to buy copper tube at Hobbytown. Yeah, Federation Models hasn't had it for years. I've been checking. And that model, the molds for it are taken from actual filming molds. And the models were also presented to members of the production crew on the movie as little mementos. Randy Cooper worked on those models and made some of the parts for the Master, if I remember right. So your particular model has some actual Hollywood prominence and provenance and all those other P words. Ow, 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 ow. Moving my foot out from under me. again, we'll wait on the rest of the hair to dry before we do the stuff close to the face. Well, khaki driver field gray, which is closer to brown bess. Drop. That one behind the damn computer, too. Allie. Allie, girl. I just remember brown bess being a lot browner. Yeah, the field drab will be the closer color. And welcome again to anyone watching on YouTube. I do appreciate it. Didn't know how well that would be even noticed today, but I see there's at least 2 of you in there. So thanks for watching, thanks for hanging out, even if I'm just weird background noise for you. I could probably neaten that up a bit, but it's going to be hidden. So I'm not too concerned. If anybody else is into 3D printing and wants to make this model as well, the files are available on CG Trader. I think they're about 45 bucks though. I have upscaled the figure to 1/3 scale, however. It comes with a display base with an egg. I haven't sliced the egg yet. I don't know if I want to integrate that into a base or just make the just make it look like the grating from the movie. Aries did cut the egg in half for me so I'd be able to print it properly. And I can't remember what I scaled this up to. Yeah, I got them. I just haven't done anything with them yet because I've been a lazy idiot, you know. And the egg is pretty big. on its own right, you know, like the actual egg itself. And without the rest of the base and context, it may be a bit distracting. I might have to put my... I know I say it every time, but I really am thinking of putting my pulse rifle back into movie colors. If I do that, I might make one of my display cases like a strictly alien themed display case. This paint needs better stirred up. But I had a larger one. I do. This one may have been too thinned. Might be corrupted. It is Tamiya. Except the bigger ships won't fit in it. The Cygnus barely fit in one of the cases. But the Enterprise, or Enterprises, and the Klingon ships are all too long. They won't fit. And I missed a chance to get the files for Hicks. The day I was going to get them, they disappeared. They were taken down, I should say. They may pop back up again later. I've seen them before. Just got to keep an eye out and grab it when I see it. Possibly the guy that was selling them wasn't the original file creator. Solway just messaged me. Oh, and I got a call earlier. It's the Amazon scammers. They're back at it again, right? So I played along. I answered the call, and you know, got put on hold and all that shit. And as soon as the automated system switched over, you could hear the whoop of the VoIP system coming on. And as soon as it answered, of course, the typical voice with the typical accent you'd expect answered. And I said, "Oh, hey, Benchode! Amazon Benchode, I haven't heard from you in a while." And immediately she just goes, "You just watch your mouth," and hangs up. If anyone watches Scammer Revolts or Scammer Payback, you know what benchode means. Oh, here we go again. Ow. I think that shows up on the YouTube stream as well. I think the alerts all translate over, which is... I can't remember if YouTube had something against that or something. I forget. YouTube or Twitch had to do something about that. I don't remember, and if I'm big enough for them to care to notice, they'll tell me. If I'm not, we'll just keep doing it. Oh, is Solway with us? Welcome, welcome. Working on Ripley and Newt some more. Yeah, no worries. We're doing sloppy painting today. Just trying to get some base colors and stuff in. No real detail or shading work. Gonna have to go back and watch the movie and see if the beeping PDT thinger was on the pulse rifle still after she found Newt. I think it may have been. How did how did work on the bird go? I left before the stream was over. I wanted to get going on this. Spot brush out. I'll ask again when he gets back. He's probably not near his keyboard. Now Aries will be back. Quick, YouTube, while the mod's not here. Some distribution boards after about 2 hours, so you removed a little wiring. There you go. I looked for something similar at Radio Shack, but they didn't have anything that quite suited my needs. And the employee there wasn't the exact, paragon of knowing what the hell he was talking about either. Oh. It's like, yes, I need something with screw-down terminals where I can wire in a power supply, i.e. a 9-volt battery or something, and then just screw in other wire junctions. And yeah, I didn't get anything useful. So I'll look on Amazon later and see what I can find. I have 3 pictures. One moment. Because for the refit, once I get all the connections from the engineering, neck, saucer, and both pylons together, I don't want to have to solder them. I want to just be able to have that board at the front, screw it all together, push it inside, and put the planetary sensor on. I don't even want that. I want something that's all screw. Because I don't want to have to even try and solder through the front hole of the engineering hull. Because when everything's done, I'm just going to have the navigation sensor to work through in terms of the opening. Make sure I got all my undersides. That'll need another coat. Okay, I'll have to go back through the chat and see if I can find that. Okay. But you know what I'm talking about. Just everything is strictly screw terminals. No hard soldering of any kind. Because once everything's run through, I'm just going to drag it out the front of the ship so I can work on it there, wire in the navigation deflector, and then close it up. I might even make the navigation deflector so I can attach it by magnets. So in case there is something that goes weird, I can still get into it. Or even better, so I don't have to run wires up the stand, I can just make it so the 9 volt I'm going to power the thing with is right there in the front. Oh, I found the physical store for that hobby link that's supposed to be sending me the grocer hund. And I sent it to the wife. So my wife owns the Amazon account, and I'm basically sicking her on them. She loves dealing with the business end of this shit. Because I go from 0 to I'm gonna call in a B-52 strike on your shop too quickly. She's a bit more tactful. You know, khaki drab actually looks like a pretty decent match for brown Bess from the day. Nothing. Just going over electrical stuff that I need for the refit before I really go any further. Looking for that junction block bus that's all screw connection. Yeah. Turn that off for a minute. And let the eyes rest again. Hoop. Where's my flat black? Not black gray, but actual, like, pure black. There it is. So I want to get the grip on the pulse rifle painted, and then I'm trying to remember, was it black or was it wood? Or was it wood painted black? It was wood painted black. So I could just go with that, which I'm going to. And it's hard to tell anymore, really, because the props got repainted again in Alien 3, where they were just painted all black. And the only thing you could see working was the rounds counter. So when you see the dog catchers come in at the end to grab Ripley, that's the same pulse rifle prop from Aliens. They just spray painted it black. Exactly. That's what I need. And since I'm leaving out the shuttle bay, I could just leave it right there in the front and not have any issues. All right. Add to list so I can go get that later. I saw that, how one end has A and B on it, and then you can run it down to the other end. And my Falcon is sitting, well, it's right there behind the Cygnus. So that thing will be perfect for the refit. Probably order that tonight. No worries. Or how do they say it? Not a sausage? Paint the reader for the rounds counter. My airsoft one has a working rounds counter as well. I think these are black too. It's funny, you search for Humbrol Brown Bess, and some of the first returns for your search are the pulse rifle. It's great. So yeah, the squeeze tabs for removing the magazine are black as well. Couldn't remember if they were black on mine or just a deeper green. Listening to one of Aries' favorite songs again. My Heart Has Teeth by Dead Mouse. That one's just got a groove to it. Don't know what it is, but it just sticks with you once you hear it. I hope that if Alien Romulus does do well, that it shows interest in the franchise again, that we can get a movie or series with Colonial Marines in it that show the weapons being used in a more modern setting outside of video games. Just so we can get a really good idea of how these things would probably work, visually. And I know the Pulse Rifle. Oh, Fire Team was a good game. I'm sorry. If anyone else didn't like it, hug a root. I liked Fire Team. It had some good moments for us, especially in those later levels when I suddenly couldn't reload. And I was just stuck to using my shoulder cannon and my just the stuff that would regenerate. I couldn't reload my guns. I had to be very selective. I wish we were streaming that because that was awesome. Honestly, I wouldn't mind just seeing more stuff added to Fire Team. Who needs a second one? The game was good enough fundamentally that just give us more for it. Don't pull a Generation Zero on us with it. And Fireteam also did an excellent job, I think, of integrating some of the elements that Ridley Scott created with Prometheus and Covenant and giving them context within the existing world. They didn't so much retcon it, but they actually did something with it. Especially that mutated queen at the end. Ooh. I almost want to play through it again using a different class of character. Is Solway back yet? We need Solway playing Aliens Fire Team with us. I think that would be a great three-way stream to do. I mean, yeah, you can tell me I'm wrong, but I think that would be a really great stream. The three of us just rocking out to that game. I just don't know if he's a big video game person. Let that dry for a little bit. Let's go back into Ripley's hair. Smaller brush. Who else is on now? Ugh. Wow. Looking at the names of some of the fake users in chat on Twitch. I see Katie's with us, though. How you doing, Katie? Lurking as usual. Maybe we should hop on and play some Fire Team later. I don't know. Starting to get some of that what do I want to do with my day ADD going again. Hmm. Oh. Well, since you were using it on the Xbox service, um, it should have saved all your progress and stuff like that on the cloud, regardless of whether you have the game installed or not. That, and I kind of want to see if we can find more of the intel. A lot of times it felt like we just kind of ran through the levels pretty damn quick. There were two that I couldn't reload. One of the ones I couldn't reload was at the end, though, and it really made it like um there was like a palpable tension, you know? It was fucking cool. I was saying before, I wish we were streaming that. Or was that a card you picked? You did that to me on purpose. It wasn't that I couldn't reload, I couldn't pick up ammo. I could reload my gun, but I couldn't pick up ammo to restore my ammo. I couldn't reload it, like refurbish my ammo. Oh, I think you can remember, and you're just being a right brat about it now. But that was like an Alien 3 moment, where at the end they're like, hey guys, my door ain't working. Think we better rethink this thing. Halfway through the level, hey, I can't pick up any ammo. Oh, you damn well know you would. And did anybody else read that in Steve Urkel's voice? Would I do that? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Watch out. Arnie, you almost got kicked off the desk again. It's time for a break anyway. Ah. Did you enjoy your nap? That was a good 2.5 hour nap. Not bad for you. Let's get this down before he knocks it down. Hi, boy. Good kitty. But he might be telling me it's time to stop and do dinner anyway, because it is almost 5 o'clock here. And it's been a good almost 3 hour stream, 2.5. Gotta let things dry. But yeah, Aries, message me later if you want to do more Fire Team. Especially that I got something more comfortable to sit in and play it on now. Giant cat head. Yeah, I think I'm going to end stream for right now. Tell me what you think, though. Especially on the YouTube side of things. Don't know if I'll do music at all. Even the copyright-free stuff tends to eventually get copyrighted. We'll play around with things, though. You'll have a good day. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks again to Aries for the cheer. Every little helps. All the bits are welcome. And hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, because I don't work till late, so there might be time in the day for a stream before work. So see y'all later.